Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, I had a big bad psoriasis flare, and today I'm going to talk about why the flare happened and kind of what I'm doing to help it heal, and yeah, just kind of tell you what's going on. And hopefully you guys can take something out of this video and apply it to yourself if you have a flare. The first thing that I want to say is if you have a flare, that means your body is not fully back in balance. So if you have gotten rid of psoriasis 1 or 2 times and it's still coming back, it means your body still needs more work, which I'm going to get into and explain everything. But if you don't know, my name is Marla, and I had, for the first time, I developed psoriasis about 3 years ago, maybe just over, and that was the very first time. I had a very unhealthy past. I will leave a link in the description box below. I made a video talking about why I ended up getting psoriasis, and I talk about my unhealthy eating habits and binge eating and all of that stuff. It's on my main channel, Marla Pietruszko, so I will leave a link in the description box. If you guys are interested, you can check out that video to see what I did to myself to make my body get so toxic. But pretty much I got psoriasis about 3 or 4 years ago, and it really was just on my hands. It was really bad on my hands, but yeah, it was on my hands, and then it just kind of got worse and worse over time, and I went and saw so many dermatologists and all that, and nobody could help me. They would give me steroids and cortisone creams and nothing worked, and it would get worse. So it didn't actually heal until I, did a natural protocol where I pretty much detoxed and cleansed my whole system, and yeah, I just ate super alkaline and got off of gluten and mostly like a lot of dairy, and if I did have dairy, it was only grass-fed. And I also stopped eating cane sugar. I only had like honey or maple syrup or coconut sugar, so natural forms of sugar, and it went away. So at this time, I was originally went and saw my naturopath because I knew I needed a full system cleanse. I knew that my body was just so toxic and backed up. So when I went to my naturopath, she gave me a bunch of homeopathics to cleanse my liver, my pancreas, my gallbladder, my kidneys, my lymphatic system, my lungs, like literally every body system. We did a full protocol, and we did it for several months, and my psoriasis went away. It went away between that and my diet and everything else. I also did on my own a candida cleanse and parasite cleanse and all that. So between all of that, my hands were cleared. There was a part when I was clearing, I had a little healing crisis where the psoriasis spread to my armpit and to my inner elbow right here, but then it went away pretty quick, and then my hands were also cleared up after everything went away. So once it cleared up, I continued the homeopathics and stuff for about a month afterward, but life kind of got in the way, and it got expensive to keep going to my naturopath. So what I thought was that my liver was, my worst part about me was my liver. I had a very fatty liver from, eating such bad food and all that. So that was the worst part of me, and I was cleansing my liver with homeopathics, and then I stopped because, like I said, it kind of got expensive, and I just thought, you know what, my liver must be good if my psoriasis cleared up. So I never stopped doing a liver cleanse. I went and did an herbal cleanse. So I used like milk thistle or dandelion or some type of liver flush, because I knew I still wanted to support my liver, but I actually did think that my liver was up and running again and was healed. So I was cleared for about 6 to 7 months. It was about almost 7 months now that my hands have been cleared and my psoriasis was gone, so I thought I'm good to go. And during the original phase, when I first got psoriasis, I stopped eating nightshades. I stopped eating all grain. I didn't have dairy or gluten, or at this point any form of sugar either. I didn't have any type of beans or lectin, anything that contained lectins. I didn't have any beef or lamb. I just had like chicken because beef and lamb were acidic. So I was on a very strict diet, and it did get overwhelming, and it was not supposed to be permanent. So I thought when my hands were cleared, I could kind of go back and just eat regular food again. But that being said, I ate extremely clean. I didn't really cheat. I never went for pizza or anything. I always just had very clean food. So I know that my diet did not cause the flare, and I will get into that in a little bit later on. But it was definitely not my diet that caused the flare this time around, and I'll tell you what did in a second. But yeah, I ate really clean. But what happened was, when I stopped the homeopathic, stopped seeing my naturopath, and my psoriasis cleared up, I figured I'm good to go. So I was a little bit more lenient with my diet. I did eat some nightshades, which I know do aggravate me, and I stopped doing homeopathics for the liver. I just started doing herbal remedies. So that is kind of what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, about around Easter, my husband and I went up north to visit my husband's family. So this time was really stressful for me because it was a spur of the moment decision that we were going to go up north, and it's about a 10-hour drive with kids, so it's a long drive. So I got, overwhelmed because going for a week with kids means you have to pack a lot of things. You got to prep a lot of food because I can only eat a certain way. We didn't want to eat out on our drive, so I had to make snacks and stuff to constantly give the kids. Plus I had 2 tests and 3 assignments I had to be completed within a 2-day period. I was just really stressed. Also, leading up to this point, I wasn't getting much sleep at all, so I was very tired. And I had a couple anxiety attacks. And you guys know that I have high anxiety, and it's something that I've been working on so much, trying to balance my cortisol levels and balance my hormones because I have severe anxiety. So yeah, all of a sudden I got so stressed, and I noticed that the day that we were leaving, that morning we were getting into the car, my armpits were itchy. There was no red or anything, but they were itchy, and that was the last spot that I had psoriasis my first time around. So I right away knew, okay, this is gonna be psoriasis. So I was like, I made sure I was eating clean and stuff, but there's not so much you can do when you're on vacation because I didn't bring all my supplements with me. At home, I would always do like warm lemon water in the morning and liquid chlorophyll and all this stuff, which I didn't have with me when we were going up north. So there wasn't much I could do. I was still taking my liver cleanses and stuff, but like I said, there wasn't really much I could do at this point. But I was like, I gotta keep my stress down. But it was honestly really hard. When we got up north, after the crazy, insane 10-hour drive of kids screaming and crying and stopping and not needing to eat and all that, we got up north and I didn't sleep when I was there. I was really uncomfortable, but I also just, when I'm in someone else's house, I don't sleep well. And my kids were kind of not sleeping well because they were out of their environment. So I was one that was kind of getting up for them and stuff. So I didn't sleep well, and sleep raises your cortisol levels, lowers your serotonin levels, and it literally destroys your body. So if you're not getting enough sleep. So I was already so exhausted from driving, and then the whole week I was there, I was really tired. On top of that, when we were there, I was eating a lot of food. My husband's family is gluten-free, so I didn't have any gluten directly, but so I didn't have any gluten, which was good. And I tried to eat clean as much as I could, but I had foods that I shouldn't have had. So they ate a lot of like meat and stuff that, which I normally don't eat a lot of meat because I find it's just really acidic for my body and it causes psoriasis if I eat too much. But they had meat, and it wasn't organic or grass-fed. At my house, if we have meat, when we do, it's grass-fed, pasture-raised, organic, the whole thing, because I don't want to get any antibiotics or hormones or anything going into my body, because I worked so hard to, heal my gut and all that. And I was like, I just don't want anything to happen. So we're very strict with the type and quality of meat that we eat at my house. But when we were there, they have a lot of meat and it wasn't organic and stuff. And then I didn't really have many veggies when I was there. At our house, I always have like mountains of veggies, and it's always organic. I do not eat anything that's not organic because I don't want any pesticides, because that flares psoriasis, right? And you just don't want toxins in your body. So yeah, when we were there, we also didn't have any veggies, and the ones we did have weren't organic and stuff. So I was really out of my element, and that with stress just caused a flare. So the second or third day we were there, I noticed the patch under my arm, and they actually were really big. Like they showed up as big patches. They didn't start small and grow, and they were under both my armpits. And yeah, so I was like started like freaking out, and that kind of made psoriasis worse too. So we pretty much on our way home, like it was very stressful as well. But the second that we got home, I ran to the store and I got a lymphatic drainage. I used a St. Francis herb one because I knew that obviously if psoriasis is appearing, that means your lymphatic system needs work. So I got a lymphatic drainage, and then the second that we came home, I hopped into the shower and did a hydrotherapy session. And I usually do these like twice a month, just to help boost your immune, like stimulate your immune system, stimulate your lymphatic system. I know that they work, and it obviously did, because the next morning I did hydrotherapy that night. The next morning I woke up and I was covered head to toe. So this is all over. This is down my arms. I'm gonna try and lift up my sleeve here. Kind of hurts. I gotta go a little slow, but my arm looks a lot better. It's definitely healing. I will talk about what it used to look like, but it's flattening out and stuff. But you can see that there are definitely spots everywhere. So this is what my legs look like. Both my arms look like this. There's huge patches like this under my armpits. My stomach is covered. The groin has rashes, and then my legs as well. So yeah, definitely, I've never ever had, I only had psoriasis once before this, and it was just on my hands. So this scared the hell out of me. So this is called, I think it's called erythrodermic psoriasis, where it just comes in big patches and it's all at once. Like it doesn't just like come slow and the patches grow. It just shot all at once. So I knew the reason why it just came like this overnight was because when I stimulated my lymphatic system between the hydrotherapy, I also did dry brushing. I forgot to mention that night after my hydrotherapy shower. So I did hydrotherapy, I did dry brushing, and I did a lymphatic drainage. And those three together really stimulated my lymphatic system, and boom, toxins. So how did I know? So right away I knew that my liver was, nope, it was not healed. My liver needed work, and I knew it was my lymphatic system that needed work. So how did I know? The first thing, if your toxins are coming out through your skin, so like this redness is all toxins coming out through your skin, you know that your lymphatic system needs to be drained, because normally your lymphatic system will have the toxins, you know, in the fluid, but it'll drain it out through your blood, which will then go through your liver, go through your stool and out, not through your skin. So when it comes through your skin, it means your lymphatic system needs to be stimulated and it needs to drain correctly. But not only that, if your liver is backed up or your kidneys are backed up and there's nowhere for the toxins to go, they're gonna go out through the skin because they have to go out somewhere. So your skin is one of your last detox organs or exits for the toxins to come out of. And I knew that if they're coming out through my skin, obviously my liver is not working. So that's the first thing. The second thing is your chest area signifies your liver. So if you want to, like, say, stimulate your lymphatic system and, you know, your liver to flush toxins, you would dry brush your chest. So each part of your body it represents a spot that you want to like cleanse. So right away when it showed up on my chest like this, I knew for sure that that was another sign that my liver needed work. But I also knew my liver needed work just because I had psoriasis again. Anybody with psoriasis has to do a liver flush because your liver is your biggest detox organ in your body, and anything you breathe in or touch or consume, no matter whatever goes into your body has to be processed through the liver. It has to either be metabolized or broken down or stored or excreted all through the liver. So if you're very stressed too, that creates toxins, which creates acidity. Your liver has to handle all that. So your liver needs a lot of support. And when my psoriasis cleared up the first time, I kind of backed off of, you know, being super strict and heavy on my liver cleanse because I thought my liver was good. But my naturopath told me that for every year that you were very unhealthy, allow at least half a year of healing. So for me, it was a good 6 to 7 years of treating my body like garbage. So I need to do at least 3.5 years of a serious cleanse with homeopathics and stuff to really get my liver functioning properly. So yeah, I definitely had work to do. That's the reason why the flare came back, was stress, was eating a lot of foods that I'm not supposed to be eating. Plus my liver just couldn't handle it because my liver was not functioning the way it should because I wasn't done cleansing, even though I thought I was. So that's kind of that. And then I went and saw my naturopath. The next morning when I woke up and I was covered, I was losing my mind because first of all, like, it looks so ugly and embarrassing, but second of all, the pain is really bad. Even just wearing this shirt is hurting so much. I wasn't sleeping because I'm so uncomfortable. So I was like, I need help. I went back to her, and I know, like, in my opinion, I noticed that when I take homeopathics to like cleanse and stuff, that they are so much more effective than herbal remedies. I love herbal remedies, but I feel like herbal remedies are better if you are done cleansing with the homeopathics and you just want to maintain, you know, the health of your organs. Then herbal remedies I feel like are really good. But yeah, I definitely know I wanted homeopathic, so I called up my naturopath because I can't buy homeopathics, at least around this area, unless it's through a naturopath. No one else sells it. So unless you can buy it online, but that just takes too long to come in. So I told her, like, I need something for my liver, I need something for my lymphatic system, and I'm coming in. So when I went in, she first of all just looked at my skin and she was like, oh my gosh, like, you have so much acidity from stress and all that. So she did something called muscle resistance testing. It's pretty much like it's like a branch of kinesiology, and I pretty much would just put out my arm. I would hold a supplement in my hand, and if I had a really weak, she would push on my arm, and if I had a really weak response, it means I didn't need that supplement. And if I had a very strong response, like I was resisting really well, then it means I definitely needed it. And you guys can look into muscle resistance testing. It is totally amazing, and it works so well. It's a good way. You can do it on yourself too, but it's a good way to know where your deficiencies and problems lie. So she asked how my diet was, and I told her it was impeccable. Like, even though when I was up north I wasn't eating well, generally and overall I ate really well. I didn't have cane sugar and things like that. I said there's no way that I can be, you know, overloaded with candida or anything again, because I'm really strict with that, and I'm always taking so many herbs and spices. So I told her I for sure don't have candida, and I was right. When she tested me for candida and parasites, I didn't have. But she did give me a homeopathic for viral infections for candida and parasites, because she said that even though I don't test for having candida and parasites, because I was stressed, my gut microbiome is like probably really destroyed, and candida can definitely overgrow in that type of environment. So just as a protective measure, so it doesn't come back, she gave me that. And also to protect against the viral infection that you could get from candida and parasites. When candida and parasites die off, they release a virus, and if you're not flushing things out properly, then it'll create an infection, whether it's like an ear infection or your lymph nodes will be inflamed, etc. It'll create an infection. So she gave me something for that. But what I tested really strong for was obviously liver and lymphatic. Kidneys needed a little bit of work, but they weren't super strong, so she said she would give me the homeopathics for the kidneys next month when I get reassessed. But that's pretty much all she gave me was kidney and liver. And then also I had gotten tested before, a month or maybe before I went up north, for heavy metals, and I didn't have any in my body. Because I did such a good cleanse, all the heavy metals were excreted, and I didn't have toxicity. I had done a good cleanse before that for like months, you guys know. So I didn't have any heavy metal toxicity. So I was shocked when I came back and I tested positive for that, because I was like, my water is insane. We spent so much money on water filters and all this stuff, and I have heavy metal filters in my house, and I eat super clean and all that. So I was like really confused as to why I don't use aluminum or tin pans or anything. So I was really confused as to why I would have heavy metal toxicity. But right away she asked, my naturopath asked me, she was like, what kind of water have you been drinking? And I was like, well, our normal water. She's like, I said, but we went up north. And she's like, were you drinking any type of well water? That's like the first thing she asked me. I was like, yeah. And she was like, did you have a metal taste in your mouth when you were drinking the water? And I was like, yeah. The whole time I was up north, I kept telling my husband when I was drinking the water, I was like, it tastes like metal, like it's really metallic tasting. And he was like, oh, you're just sensitive, you have sensitive taste buds. I was like, no, I think there's heavy metals in this water, it tastes like heavy metals. But yeah, so when I came back, she said that a week of drinking the heavy metal water created a toxicity in my body. So she also gave me some homeopathics, which I shared on my Instagram, that were for just cleansing out the heavy metals again. And that's pretty much it. So I'm just doing a liver, lymphatic, and heavy metals. It's only a few products, but I already had known that these areas were my trouble areas because of my rash and just from, you know, my history. But that's what she gave me to work on, and that's the type of testing she did, was muscle resistance testing. I also did have some blood work done separately too. So I know that I don't have candida and parasites, but I just know that my liver needs to be cleansed more. So that is why I had a flare. So pretty much if you were to completely reheal your liver, which could take years depending honestly on the type of your lifestyle, the type of food you ate. Luckily, I don't drink alcohol, and I never did. I would have like a drink here and there, and that's it back in the day, but I haven't touched alcohol for about 3-4 years now. I just don't really like it, so I just didn't really drink it. But if I had added alcohol on top of my disgusting diet, I probably would have had cirrhosis or something, because it was pretty bad the way I used to eat. So make sure you check out that video down below so you can kind of get like an idea of how bad I used to eat. But I definitely destroyed my liver. So for me personally, I know it's gonna take a long time to heal, and I just didn't think it would take that long. So when I cleaned my hands and all that the first time around, I was like, okay, I'm good to go, my liver's good, but I guess not. So definitely it will take a long process to heal. But if you fully heal your gut, obviously, and get rid of candida and all the underlying issues, but then officially re-cleanse your liver and get it back and up and functioning optimally, your psoriasis shouldn't come back unless you get severely stressed again and eat really bad food to rebuild up toxins and re-hurt your liver. You should be good, and your psoriasis should not come back. So when mine came back, I knew that it means my body wasn't happy yet. It wasn't back in balance. So it was frustrating, but it's also, I've accepted it and I'm okay with it, because I know that it just means I have to do more work on my body, and I want my body to be functioning properly. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes with psoriasis. When you have autoimmune, it will come back if you are not, if your body's not fully back in balance. So don't give up halfway through and say, this is too much, or I think I'm done. Just keep going with it. until you are certain that your body is up and functioning. And yes, it is expensive. I have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars between naturopaths and supplements and all that, but it is so worth it because the way I feel now compared to how I used to feel is already 100 times better, even though I'm covered in psoriasis. So it's worth it. But yeah, and I had a couple questions from you guys asking, how do you know when it's healed? So I want to quickly touch on that. So when you have psoriasis, when it's fresh, like you'll see here in my neck, it looks very flat. So it's really red, but it's flat. When you have psoriasis initially, it'll be like raised patches. A lot of the time there'll be pus coming out, at least in my experience. I always had a lot of pus coming out of the psoriasis cracks. They sometimes might bleed, or they'll be flaking like crazy, and obviously they'll be spreading. When you are healing, your patches will go flat. So like I said, like it looks bad, but it's definitely completely flat now. There's no raised lesions or anything. It's not really flaking as much, and it's not as red. So when your psoriasis first comes, it's almost like a pinky red, maybe even shiny. When it goes down and it's almost a brown, I'll show you, try and show you my arm here. So it's flat and it looks almost brown rather than like pink or bright red. That is a sure sign that it's healing. Also, when obviously it starts to just disappear, you know it's healing. My hands aren't covered, but there are a couple dots. So they're definitely like healing though, because they used to be bright pink and now they're brown kind of. So that's what I mean by brown. I do have a little bit on my face, but not as much. It kind of just looks like acne or rosacea. But yeah. So like I said, you'll know it's healing when it's flattening, when it's going more brown instead of red and pink, when there's no more pus coming out, when it's not bleeding, and when even if it's flaking, it does mean you're healing. It just, when you're officially healed or healing, it'll be less flaking than it was earlier. Another sign maybe is less itchiness, but it really depends on the person. But the biggest things you want to look for is the flattening. Like you want it to be flat and like same level as your skin, and you want it to be less bright pink and red and more browny or darker, if that makes sense. A lot of people will take drugs. There's like, I think the one that I was offered was prednisone or something like that, prednisone or something. That one, I never took any drugs. I only did steroids steroid creams, and they just made everything worse, and I was like, I can't do this. It made me so much worse. So some people take them and they find that it helps, and if you're happy with that route, then embrace it. But if you're finding that after a while your psoriasis is still coming back, then it means because you haven't addressed the underlying or root cause, which is toxicity and imbalance in the body systems. So by balancing that out, you should clear out your psoriasis. Everything should be good. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a long video, I'm sorry, but I really just had a lot to talk about. So thank you so much for watching and taking the time to watch this video. If you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I am healing, and I will be sharing my progress as I heal with you guys on Instagram. So if you are not following me on Instagram, my handle is at Marla's Healthy Life. I'll leave it in the description box below so you guys can head over there. I also share like a lot of good recipes and stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I love you all, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye.